Ah! Ah! Okay. Oh God, I hate this that I can't fix this. Hi everybody, it's PJ and we are headed to New Jersey. In a frantic rush, always. We're headed to New Jersey, well, North Jersey, near New York. We're gonna hire a bunch of people. We're gonna get it done. We're coming back, and blah, blah, blah. And that's my day. So I brought all my diet stuff with me. So cool. But I thought I would tell you about okay, so I had to so I went on a little journey. So I'm out in my car. I'm in my car because I was in there with Tim when they were training and it was like so cold and my feet were getting cold, so I came out and I put the car heater, my fucking hair. I put the car heater on, but then I got like hot, so then I opened up the moonroof. So you're sitting on the moonroof right here, see? We're on the moonroof. So okay. So that you can stay plugged in and I can look at you and not be weird. But anyway, so Tim is training. I've already done my training, which means I'm just sitting around watching YouTube videos, going on Twitter and yelling about Trump. But I wanted to tell you a couple things. I had another astral projection that I thought was really cool and really interesting because I met someone and I got a name. And like, okay, so if you get a name of someone, how do I search that? I really want to like search that. And the other thing is right now I have to pee really bad, but the only bathroom in this place is like right next to where they train. So I would literally have to go where there's like 6 men and Tim and pee with, and it doesn't have the fan thing. And I'm like, I don't want them sitting there listening to me pee. I know that's so childish, but I literally feel that way. So I'm stuck in my car really having to pee. I'm gonna take a ride and find a bathroom in a minute, but anyway. So I met somebody at this during this astral projection. Okay, so it was really crazy. So when I first started to astral project, I was in my bedroom, right? And I was like walking around and there was a pot of flowers in my bedroom. And I thought, oh, who died? I don't know why I thought that would be because somebody died, but I thought that. I was like, who died? Why are there flowers here, you know? So then I was like, well, let me go search around. And for some reason, I didn't feel like I was going to go far. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like I was going to like have some of the journeys I've had where I've like taken off and been at like a completely different place. I felt like I was going to stay close. So I go outside through my window. I just kind of like morph through my window and I go up to, and I thought, oh, I should jump on the lines. But really quickly, I noticed that there's like a guy at the corner. So I walk, I don't float. I walk up to the corner of my street, which is only a couple houses because I live like right near the corner. So I walk up to the corner of my street and there's a guy standing there, and I like tap him on the shoulder. I said, hey. And he turns around and looks at me and he goes, hello. And he, again, like is not dressed like you and I. Like he's dressed like my dad dressed back in the 50s when he would get dressed up like with the hat and all. Okay, so I was like, are you lost? And he's like, no, I know where I am. And I said, oh, okay. Are you traveling around? And he's like, no, I live here. So I said, oh, okay. And I said, what's your name? And he says, John Polak or Polak. Polak. Why can't I remember? It must be Polak. Polak. And I was like, oh, have you lived here long? Because I'm thinking maybe this is somebody traveling like at the same time as I am. But then I realized like his clothing wasn't right. So I was like, have you lived here long? Polak. Polak. I keep thinking, I am sorry. Damn it, I should have wrote it down. Because sometimes some of it fades from me a little bit. Because you're not like really completely the same. There's certain things that are so crystal clear and others like kind of fade away. So weird. But anyway, so John Polak. And so I said, so I was like, he's like, no, I live here. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, fuck, this guy is probably dead. This is like a spirit or something. So I said, when were you born? And he turned around and got gruffy with me and was like, what business of that is yours? But then I thought about it later and I was like, well, I guess that's a kind of strange thing to ask. Like, when were you born? Oh, I was born. Because then what if the guy was born in like 1920 or something? And I'm like, I was born in 1958. And he's like, what? Get the fuck, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Because he wasn't that old. I would say he was about 40 years old. Okay. He wasn't like an old man. He was just like a man. So, so I was like, do you want to take a walk with me down to the water? Because the water's right by my house. And he like looked at the ground for a minute and he's like, no, I'm going to wait here. And I said, are you waiting for someone? And he looked at me again, like all gruffy, like, what the fuck are you asking me this for? So I was like, never mind. Okay, I'm going to go down to the water. If you want to come, I'll be down at the water. So he's like, all right. And then I floated to the water. I did not walk. I like said, okay. I like turned away from him and just like was at the water like within a second or two. And so I went down to the water and I'm walking on the water's edge and there are ducks and everything. But like some of the buildings were different. They really weren't there. Like there's a museum there that wasn't there. The road to the park, because there's like a park and then the river, the road to the park was like dirt when you came off, I guess like where the street ends and the park begins. It was just dirt. It's crazy looking, but everything else is the same. Like the marsh was the same, the water was the same. Like when I looked out, the peninsula was the same. I keep hearing them come in and out. Okay, so I was like, oh man, I wonder if I'm back in time. And I really believe I was. So there was no boats at the marina, but I thought if I could look at a boat at the marina, I would know, like, because the boats would be older than what I see normally, you know. So I was like, all right, let me go look at the marina and see. So I kind of floated, I half floated, but I was like, okay, sometimes you can just think when you're traveling, you can just say, I want to be here, and you'll show up there. And other times you can take the time to travel there, okay? So this time I was like taking my time to travel there. So I was down in the park, like where the, you don't know the park, but where like the parking lot was. And I just like kind of floated across the green, because there's like a huge open area. I floated across the green over to where there's a restaurant there, and I realized it was somebody's house now. So I was like, I am back in time. Somehow I had pushed myself back in time, because I haven't seen a real car yet, or that I've noticed, because I didn't think about it at first. So then I go around what used to be, well, what now is a restaurant, which used to be this person's house, I guess. So I go around the house, and I went around the other side, because that's where the marina is, and there was no marina. There was like no docks, nothing. Like when you go around the restaurant, there's like open docks and stuff for you to like pull your boat up to, and then you can walk into the restaurant. They were gone. There was nothing there. There was just pilings, like the sticks in the water. And there was like all these geese. So I just walked over to the pilings and sat down. The sun was starting to come up. It was beautiful. It was so quiet. And that's the other thing I realized. I realized like there was no boat motors. That I can hear boat motors all night long where I live. Like I live like right next to a marina. So you couldn't hear any of that. It was just quiet as it comes. The stars were like still out, even though the sun was starting to come up. So I just sat there and watched the sky get lighter. And it didn't like rise there. The sun actually rises behind, but it was still getting like lighter out. And so I just looked at the stars for a while, and then I went back. I just said to myself, okay, I gotta wake up soon. Like I gotta get up soon. So I was like, back home. I was like, okay, go back home, go back home. And then I was like coming up to the side of my house and I looked over to see if the guy was still there and he was gone. John Pollock. I'm dying to look and see if like a John Pollock or Pollock or Pollock or something like that lived in Northeast ever. Because if I could find that, wouldn't that be awesome? I don't know any Pollocks. I've lived there like a long time, but that doesn't matter. It could have been a while ago. It looked like, I guess it was like the 1940s. So I think I had gone back in time. I think time is like a very different than what we see it. I think that we see it like the time between however long I've been talking to you guys. But I think that time is like more like a surface that you can cross fast or slow or this and that if you're not constrained by your body. You know what I mean? So that was cool. So it was a good night. I probably stayed out maybe like 2 hours, maybe a little. It was close to morning when it happened. Like it wasn't maybe an hour and a half or something. Maybe like 4 o'clock, I would guess that. Because I wasn't gone that long, you know. And so the guy wasn't there. So I just kind of was like, into your bed, lie down in your bed, and all of a sudden it was like really fast and I snapped back in my body and I just like opened my eyes and laid there and I was like, oh, it was so pretty out. It was just pretty and peaceful and calm and nothing eventful happened other than I got a name. That's the first time I've gotten a name from anybody that I can recall. Like I've seen other people, but none of them, why don't I ask their names? Like what the fuck is wrong with me? Wouldn't that be the first thing you ask somebody? But I hadn't up until this time. So it was really kind of cool and I really enjoyed myself. And I just thought I'd tell you about my nice, peaceful, wonderful time. It was cool. You guys got to try it. You got to astral project. Like it is like living 2 lives. That's what it feels like. Like I have that life over here that I've just started to explore. I like a year, you know, maybe 2 that I've played with it other than randomly it comes up, you know. But it's like having 2 lives. It's like living another whole life. It's so awesome. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm gonna let you go. If you'd like to follow me down the rabbit hole that is my life, look up John Pollock in Maryland. See if you can find one. See how old he was when he died and what year. Pollock. I can't remember how he said the last name now. Like, but that was it. It was Pollock or Lack or something like that. I don't know how that would be spelled. You have to look it up and see if you find something. Oh my God, wouldn't that be cool if I found somebody who's like, look at how crooked my poor fingers. Look, they point that way. They point down. They don't point like straight out. They go, look how crooked that is. My poor body. Anyway, love you. No feeling bad for me. It was fun as hell. I love you guys. Bye.